I know I say this a lot, but Wizards of the Coast really messed up. Hey there, kiddos, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Uncle Frank, hoping that you are having a great day, and in today's video, we're going to be sitting back in my very squeaky chair, relaxing and having a little conversation about Magic the Gathering, Universes Beyond, Secret Lair, Wizards of the Coast, and Capcom. You see, in case you haven't heard, and I'd be very shocked if you did, this news was basically everywhere, Wizards of the Coast put out an article saying that they are pulling the plug on the formerly upcoming Secret Lair Universes Beyond Monster Hunter Super Drop, which was scheduled for this coming weekend. It was a very small article. They basically said, we heard you loud and clear. You guys weren't happy with the announced Secret Lair, so we're pulling it, we're reworking it, and we'll give you news in 2026. And they said that they had Capcom's blessing. They also iterated in the article that pulling super drops is not something that they're going to do often. They don't want to do it a whole lot. But let's get down into the nitty-gritty here. This is not something that they have ever done. Wizards of the Coast has never pulled a product out and effectively canceled it just days before its release, just days before orders were scheduled to go live. They have delayed products. They have made some last-minute changes to products. But to my knowledge, this is the first time ever that a full product release for any line from Wizards of the Coast, be it Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, or, well, I guess that really is all Wizards of the Coast has these days, isn't it? They've never canceled anything full out. And especially they've never canceled anything or made significant changes to a product due to community outcry. This is basically unprecedented, and it tells you quite a lot about what's going on behind the scenes, and it tells us a bit more about how careful WotC and Hasbro has to be to toe the line when it comes to crossovers and Universes Beyond as an IP brand. Because, let me be very clear here, Wizards of the Coast and their parent company Hasbro, they do not care one bit about what the community is complaining about in the moment. If they are complaining about a product, it doesn't matter how many people are voicing complaints about how bad a product is, about how it's a bad idea to release it, how overpriced it might be, and even like how just in bad taste it might be. Looking at you, Magic 30. Wizards of the Coast has historically had an extremely bad track record of making any real changes to their product lines, especially new releases, in response to community feedback. Okay, they're really bad at that. And if they do make changes, it's really slow changes. I'm going to give you basically back-to-back examples. 3 back-to-back examples. One that, all 3 of them really, that they have kind of learned from and tried toying with. But first off, let's get the big one out of the way. Magic 30. The live stream announcing Magic 30th Anniversary Edition, which, in case you forgot, is the non-playable beta reprints that cost $1,000 for 4 packs that you couldn't play. From the second that was announced, the entire Magic the Gathering community, be it collectors, players, investors, stores, scalpers, whatever have you, whatever corner of the market, Vorthos, every corner of Magic the Gathering's ecosystem was united in saying that this was a terrible idea, okay? Gargantuanly awful idea. Nobody wanted it. Nobody was asking for it. Everybody hated it. But Wizards of the Coast went ahead and pushed the product out to release anyway, despite massive backlash and massive community feedback, basically saying that nobody wanted this, right? Fast forward, I think it was roughly the same time, or maybe it was a year prior. I'm getting my timelines mixed up, but the concept of universes beyond itself was massively divisive in the Magic community. It seemed almost 50-50 split. Some people thought it was an okay idea, and some people, like myself, thought it was an absolutely awful thing to include in Magic the Gathering. Just kind of period. Just in general. And of course, despite massive community feedback, massive community resentment, huge, like channels and channels going back and forth for or against Universes Beyond as a product line, Wizards of the Coast has decided to go ahead and just force Universes Beyond out there, right? Community be damned, right? And then let's talk about Secret Layers. Secret Layers as a product. There's a lot of people, especially when it first was announced, that were not all that happy with the idea of Wizards of the Coast becoming a direct competitor to its own LGS system. More to the point, Wizards of the Coast was directly reprinting cards at market prices, especially in the beginning. If you look back at how Secret Layers were priced for what was in them versus what those cards are going for on the secondary market, it was kind of obvious to everyone that Wizards of the Coast was trying to get some extra cash out of the secondary market at the time. And people were not taking that very well. If you look at some of the comments being left at the time. And despite massive backlash and feedback and resentment from a lot of people around all three of these products, Wizards of the Coast decided to go ahead with them regardless. In recent years, the only product that Wizards of the Coast has really backpedaled on was the Aftermath boosters. And they went ahead and still released the Aftermath boosters. Don't get me wrong. They released those. Despite, from the moment they were announced, everyone told them, this is a bad idea. They're overpriced, underwanted. You just cut some cards out of the main set and release them in an overpriced expansion pack. Everyone told them from the beginning it was a bad idea. Wizards of the Coast didn't listen, pushed out a few Beyond boosters or whatever they're called. I just said it a few seconds ago too. But they put out these really small packs for overinflated prices. And lo and behold, Aftermath, sorry. Lo and behold, they did fail. Do not get me wrong. They did fail initially. Stores could not get rid of them fast enough. Collectors, investors did not want them. It was crazy. Eventually they ended the line, but it looks like Spider-Man was the end result ramification of that, because like Assassin's Creed was one, and yeah, Spider-Man I think was one too. Crazy stuff, you know. And you can look at how the Spider-Man set was affected by this. Like, they decided they were going to go ahead with it anyway, and it was only after the hilarious failure of Aftermath, All Will Be One, March the Machines, massive failure for the Aftermath there, that they decided they have to change the Spider-Man set. And even then, they couldn't save it. It's still seen as kind of a bad set these days. Crazy stuff. So here we have a Secret Layer, you know, just fasting forward in the timeline of it. Here we have a Secret Layer in 2025. A Universes Beyond Secret Layer in 2025. Already, that's 2 down for the count. And yeah, there were complaints online. There were some complaints about the art direction, the choice of the cards they were using to represent the Monster Hunter creatures. Apparently, they were just really bad choices all around. And apparently, there was like typos and such, misprints for the names or whatever. Smaller stuff. But, you know, obviously, if you're a huge fan of Monster Hunter and this is your big representation in Magic the Gathering, obviously that's going to annoy you. But those are not the kind of things that Wizards of the Coast as a company will pull products for. Wizards of the Coast, as I've said, they don't do that. They do not really care about community backlash or customer misgivings. In fact, I think they hate their customers. If I'm being completely honest with you guys, I do legitimately think Wizards of the Coast hates the average player. That's just my personal belief, but whatever. No, I think this decision, the decision to pull Monster Hunter, the Monster Hunter Secret Layer, I think this came from Capcom. That is my... choose my words carefully here. I do not think that Wizards of the Coast would pull a product unless they were pressured to by a partner who was in control of the IP. And I think what happened here, in my opinion, this is just me guessing, Capcom saw the backlash online. They didn't want this is the second time they've had a crossover with Magic the Gathering. There was a Street Fighter one too. I think they wanted to make sure that this product was as good as it possibly could be, and they didn't want any backlash, because Monster Hunter is a huge franchise for them. Capcom loves that franchise. It's one of the only franchises they love, actually. Capcom, if you're watching this video, if you are a Capcom employee watching this video, please give us any Darkstalkers. Please. I'm begging you. I will pay you money. So no, what I think happened was someone at Capcom saw the backlash, saw the complaints online, saw the utter mishandling of their IP on Wizards of the Coast part, and at the last second said, look, we're pulling this product. Do it again. That is what I personally think happened. I could be wrong. Maybe this was the one time that someone at Wizards of the Coast R&D was actually paying attention, and their heart grew 3 sizes that day with the size of a pea, and they decided, maybe people aren't going to buy this. We should try again in 2026. But I don't think that's what happened, because as I've said several times, WotC doesn't care. They do not. They just don't. So, I don't know. I suppose this was a more negative video that I usually put out on the channel, but it really does have to be said. My opinion on Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast as companies are so low that I do not, in good faith, believe that they are the kind of people who would pull a product just because of community feedback. It's just how I see it. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Do you think I'm crazy? I might be. Please like, share, subscribe, and all that good jazz. Head on over to Patreon if you feel like throwing money at me. Head on over to Discord if you feel like chatting with me. And thank you so much for watching and putting up with my mindless rambling nonsense for so long. I'll see you guys next time.